My best friend's been driving for over 10 years. And he said, look, if you're gonna work part-time, you might as well make as much money as you can. And for a part-time job, it pays pretty good for this area. I enjoy the elementary kids more than I do anything. But it's been a lot of fun.
People tell me that, how can you drive kids? And I'm like, hey, that's the best part of the job. The rest of it's a piece of cake. So, but I really enjoy, driving, and keeps me active, gets me up in the morning.
I drive the school bus because I love it. It's an awesome job. I love going and picking up the students, watching them get on the bus, the little ones with the big smiles on their face, wondering, all the excitement they're going to be doing while they're going to school, middle, high school. I drive all ages. It's just a wonderful job.
I drive because I'm retired Navy, and it's great, after serving my country, to give back to my community. Our kids are the future of America, and it's great to have a part to where I'm contributing to them and to make sure that they get what they need.
We will train you from the get-go. We should be able to help you through the whole process of getting your learner's permit, getting your endorsements, and then we have a 24-hour classroom training that we do, and then we do your 24-hour on-the-road training. So we do all of it in-house. All you need to do is come with a love for children.
I drive the school bus because I wanted to have some adult interaction as a stay-at-home mom. I wanted to get out, and driving with Roanoke County, I have great students. I've enjoyed this nearly 20 years now, and I also like being a part of the community, and they trust me with their kids, and I enjoy being with my students.
I enjoy driving. The best part about driving the school bus is the children that I pick up every day.
Why?
Because they keep me younger. I'm 78 years old. They keep me younger.
I retired from public service, and I stayed at home and did all my honeydews, and basically I got bored. I wanted something to do. My wife was a teacher, so this allowed me to have money and time off during the summer.
We do this to have something to do. A lot of our drivers are retirees, and they come out to do their community service and have a routine and have a reason to get up in the morning, and they get a little extra fun money to go on vacation and that kind of stuff. So it's a great job.
Evening. I'd like to call the Thursday, February 25th, 2021 Roanoke County School Board meeting to order. I'll speak slowly so Mr. Linden, there he goes.
Thank you.
All right. Madam Clerk, the roll.
Mr. Moretz?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Linden?
Here.
Mr. Greenway is absent. Mr. Ray?
Here.
Mr. Butzer?
Here. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Are there any changes to the agenda this evening? Hearing
Mr.
none, may I?
Chairman,
Yes.
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
All right, thank you.
Second.
All right, Madam Clerk, the roll.
Mr. Moretz?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Linden?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Ray?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Butzer?
Yes, ma'am. All right, moving on to presentations and recognitions. 3.01, recognition of Green Valley Elementary School, recipient of the Dr. Marlene C. Scott Curriculum and Instructional Leadership Award. Ms. Stephanie Hogan.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and board members. At this time, I'd like to invite the principal, Kim Bradshaw, to come forward at this time. I'm very pleased to read this letter that we received back on January 29th from the Virginia Children's Engineering Council. It says, on behalf of the Virginia Children's Engineering Council, congratulations to Green Valley Elementary School for receiving the 2021 Virginia Children's Engineering Council Dr. Marlene C. Scott Curriculum and Instructional Leadership Award. The council is pleased to recognize Green Valley Elementary School for its efforts to advance the study of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, with emphasis on design, engineering, and technology. The school's focus on providing a problem-based, STEM-rich curriculum makes for a highly engaging and challenging learning environment that enables children to explore how people create, use, and control technology, apply knowledge in mathematics, science, English, history, and social sciences, and use tools and materials to develop technology literacy and self-confidence. This school was recognized during the 25th Virginia Children's Engineering Convention held February 2nd through the 4th. They also were not only in receipt of this award, but also received a $1,000 award for them to be able to use in their building. So at this time, I'd like to invite Ms. Bradshaw to come forward to see if she has any remarks before we present her award.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Hogan. Honestly, I accept this award on behalf of the teachers and staff at Green Valley. They are the ones that do the work each and every day. We're blessed to have teachers at Green Valley that incorporate STEM completely through the curriculum. So it just comes second nature to them to incorporate it. So it's wonderful. And thank you, the board and central office, for the support, the training, the devices that we use to help us with STEM. So we certainly appreciate everything that you do to support us in that endeavor as well. So thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Congratulations.
Okay, the whole board. Mr. Ray? The whole board. Sure. Let's all go down and. Yes. Mr. Ray?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, I had the privilege of being at this virtual meeting when they accepted the award, and a couple of the teachers were there, and it was really an exciting time. You would think the convention being virtual, it wouldn't be too exciting, but it was, especially when we got the award, and also we got $1,000 with it. So, real congratulations, and we appreciate all the hard work that goes on over at Green Valley. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ray. All right, moving on to 3.02, recognition of 2020 VHSL 3A Basketball Coach of the Year, Cave Spring High School, Mr. Jacob Gruss. Mr. Spangler? Did I mispronounce your name? Or?
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, thank you for having us here this evening. As principal of Cave Spring High School, I have had the great honor of coming before you with good teams and excellent coaches. This year, really this past year, and what Jacob had accomplished is very special. And when you look back at the road he took, I don't know if any other coach in the state before him or will after him go through what he did, through our journey. And with that, and it wasn't just the beginning in December of basketball season to the end and how it all ended, but it was prior to that. With Cave Spring being renovated, he lost his home. Early on, and he was scrambling for a long time trying to find places to have open gyms and just where he could keep his program running. So, with that, he really has done an outstanding job. Many of us are a little concerned that, he's a stroke away from, one bad call. But but he really has done a tremendous job, with our program. And with that, when I say that, he has such a passion for this game. And that's what it is. His kids feed off of that passion. They love him. They know he has their back. But he's an outstanding coach. And we are very, very proud of him and happy that he got this award, Coach of the Year. Jacob?
As I tell most people, and it just isn't coach talk, if I didn't have really good players and really good assistant coaches, I wouldn't be standing here. I have a great administration with Mr. Spangler, Mr. Parker, Ms. Deeds, our athletic director, John Hartness, our dean of students, Mr. Hall. We have an unbelievable community that, I've been in coaching a long time. I feel like the old guy now. I've been in it over 20 years, and, this community is unreal. Our administration is unreal. They allow us to do our job. They support us wholeheartedly from the top to the bottom. Even Ms. Wimbush, when we didn't have a gym, since we have the board right here, I called John Michael at Hidden Valley, the athletic director, said, we need a place to play. We need some places to practice. And they bent over backwards. We're this huge rival school. We're the Duke-Carolina rivalry. And they've been over backwards. So it's not just a Cave Spring thing. It's a Roanoke County thing. And, even Mr. Linden is a lot better looking tonight with that Cave Spring basketball mask on as well. So, our administration is unbelievable. Our kids are unbelievable. Our parents are unbelievable. Again, I'm not here without those people. It's not a Jacob Gruss Award. It's a Cave Spring basketball award. So thank you for having us.
You're welcome.
Against the referee sometimes, but he is so selfless about the awards and what accomplishments that he makes. He likes to stand in the background and give it to his coaches. We won a tournament over at the Civic Center one year. We beat Hidden Valley, and we were over there. We beat Hidden Valley. And we went out there, and we were getting the award, and here I am standing here with the guys, and he wants me over there with the guys instead of the coach. And that's how he is. So, that's kind of the case. And he gets everything out of these kids, every ounce out of these kids, because he knows that he'll do anything for them. So, Coach, congratulations.
Mr. Chairman? Yes.
If I may, just before Jacob leaves, I just want to say congratulations for this great honor. As Mr. Spangler said, the enthusiasm that you bring is contagious. I've seen it firsthand a number of times, and just very well deserved. So hopefully next year you get a full season in, and you guys can go like 23-3.
All right.
I think you'll play the Vikings 3 times.
All right, good. Well done. Thank you. All right, the next item on the agenda is the hearing of citizens and delegations. Tonight we have one. It's Mr. Michael Altheiser. I might add a previous board member, a school board, and I think Board of Supervisors. Is that correct? Mm-hmm. Welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Before I start, I think it's only appropriate that I tell each and every one of you, thank you for giving of your time, the jobs you do, and a lot of times it's not always welcomed as decisions go. And I definitely want to thank you for your service. I will say I'm speaking here tonight. I do plan on being at the Board of Supervisors meeting, first meeting in March, and I will say something here, and I'll probably smile, but the rest of what I want to talk about, I probably won't smile very much. I talked to a good friend of mine. I told him I was coming over to speak to the school board and to speak to the Board of Supervisors. And first thing he did is he looked at me and smiled, and he says, "Okay, what are you getting ready to run for?" And my response to him is I'm running for the betterment of Roanoke County, for the betterment of the Board of Supervisors and the betterment of the Roanoke County School Board. And most of all, the betterment of our students, the ones we have today, the ones we'll have in the future. So, so now I won't smile because I believe, and I'm very serious in what I'm saying tonight, and I know each and every one of you will take it seriously. You and the Board of Supervisors are the ultimate decision makers in how any of this turns out. But that's what you come to expect when you run for elected office, and that's the way it's supposed to be. And good people find a way to make it happen. And I believe this group here and the group across town will do that. I'm here tonight to speak to you about what I see as a dire conflict between the school board and the Board of Supervisors. I believe I'm in a position to say that in public and not put the elected officials in the position to have to say it themselves. I'm not here to take sides, but I am here to point out things that puts, in my opinion, the 3 school projects in jeopardy. From what I have read in the Roanoke Times, the current atmosphere is headed back to the 1990s. I remember those times very well. Even though I wasn't in public office, I wasn't in politics or anything like that, but I remember the stagnation that happened, that nothing happened, and that was awful fearful. It was fearful for the citizens of Roanoke County then. And it was a bad situation for multiple years. It just didn't happen over a budget cycle. It didn't just happen over certain projects. And I stand here to say we, as county citizens, we want dialogue, we want involvement, and we want information. And I do stand here tonight as a citizen of Roanoke County. And I do stand here tonight as a proud prior member of this board and for the Board of Supervisors. We as county citizens, again, we need dialogue, we need involvement, we need information, we need to understand. A lot of people do, but many people don't understand. They don't know. They don't have the information. When we're talking about over $91 million, there has to be a whole lot of talking and a whole lot of information, and that's between everyone, and most importantly, the citizens of Roanoke County, because it's a high price at stake, and that's our students. Now, tomorrow, 10 years from now. Here are the competing issues that I see that both boards are facing. I truly believe if you want to talk about a voter referendum for this amount of money, it will fail. And here's the reason I believe it'll fail. A lot of things fail because of timing. A lot of things fail because of lack of information. So we have competing things for our citizens. We just read in the newspaper county assessments went up about 3.6%. But I'll tell you, there are many thousands of citizens whose assessments went up 10%, 14%. Mine went up 14%, and my taxes increase is $370 just on this. So the citizens in Vinton, which are Roanoke County citizens, we also pay 7 cents on the tax rate more than county citizens. So we're at $1.16 already, and another 6 cents is going to put you up to $1.19. Well, actually, it's $1.21, I'm sorry, which would make it tied for the highest tax rate of anywhere in this valley. That is not an issue that's between you two boards, I don't see as keeping things from happening. All three projects are needed. I know they're needed. I've seen them. I think that really this board here and the Board of Supervisors should not be facing this dilemma, especially with BCAT. It's an issue that should have been solved 15, 18, 20 years ago. But we can't change the past. The only thing we can do is strengthen and change the future to where we're proud of what we leave for our citizens and for our students. Some citizens say, why hadn't this been brought up before now? I believe the common theme and what I tell people is BCAT had no mother and had no father. That's a simple way to put it. There was no one responsible, no one there to carry the flag and to carry the torch of what was going on. There is no doubt in my mind that there needs to be a new BCAT facility. The question that remains is where and when. The economic development component of the BCAT project is huge. Without skilled workers for the kind of development that would locate here, the consequences are monumental. When you look at Roanoke County's tax rate, in that residential taxes are about 87% of the revenue. It should be about 70%, commercial should be about 30%. So the dilemma that we all face as citizens and elected officials is that we have to have economic development. We have to lay the groundwork and the foundation for that to happen. And I think, and I will speak to that in a minute as a component of talking about of money. Another area of contention between the boards, and again, this is all I read from the Roanoke Times, and I won't get into what I think about reporting sometimes. But without skilled workers for the types of business that need to come here, which is, we need manufacturing. Manufacturing is the biggest thing. It's what left this country. It went to Mexico. It went to other countries. But the other area of contention is whether or not this should be a regional project. Anybody can go back and check my record and find out that I was one of the biggest supporters of regional corporation, and it was a way to grow this valley and to put us all in a position to better do things. But I stand here tonight and tell you that BCAT should not be a regional problem. And here's the reason why I believe that. is it's about Roanoke County students. It's about the 150 to 200 kids that don't even make it into the programs that they're. The programs continue to come out, and we're operating it now on a postage stamp. So if we try to incorporate regional corporation with this, our needs are greater than anybody else's, I believe, at this point. Everybody's facing things with COVID and financial problems, and are, quite frankly, I think, in a little better shape with their facilities as far as their economic development drive into CTE. There may be down the road that once BCAT's built, that someone will come and say, hey, can you make room for 150 students? You'll be able to address that, the cost. And if there's a construction part of it, the numbers will be out front and foremost. They'll know what it is. I see trying to incorporate economic development into this will only prolong on how we get, as Roanoke County, to building a facility like this. So I stand in support that this is not the right time nor the right project to be holding it up to try to make it. And I understand. There might be some extra money out there and somebody might decide to give you $2 or $3 million. Well, I don't think we all know what it would cost, what it's going to cost to run it, how big it needs to be. So maybe we get out there and we do it too quick and we're $2 million short of what it should have been. So it's better off to wait till later, build it, get it right. We have the right people to get it right and do that facility. Then at that time, make a decision on whether you want to bring in other localities. The other big area of contention between the boards is to build on this property where we stand here tonight. And while I believe, and I thank you for your thought and your research and all about putting a building here, but I think it's the wrong spot. As I've sit here and said, I don't believe it's an economic development project. You know, I sit down and ran all the numbers last night. 34.36 acres is what we have here, including the elementary school. The current BCAT property is 29.971 acres, roughly 30 acres. Here we have a warehouse, we have administrative offices, and we have an elementary school. I would say if you were building what this school should really, really be, you don't have a place big enough to build it for maybe 3 to 5 years. We all know, you know as elected officials, that once you spend this kind of money into a facility, nobody's going to go back and revisit it for 20, 25, 30 years. How long has it been since we've done some of the high schools and elementary schools? How long has it been since we went back to it? Just because if you go out and buy some property, don't mean you got to use up every space of it to put something on. You build, you design, and do what you need, and you move forward with it. If you take the 30...
Mr. Rolheiser, we're supposed to limit you to 3 minutes. How much longer do you have?
Maybe 2.
2, okay.
So if you take this property and then time you cut out about 10 to 12%, Mr. Lennon, you can tell me if I'm right or wrong on this, you're going to lose 10 to 12% of your property with roads, sidewalks, gutters, and parking lot. By the time you do all this and you build in here, gentlemen, if you look real hard at those numbers and how many pieces of property you're going to have here, you're going to be on a postage stamp without a floodplain. The two pieces of property of what's in Salem and what's in here are almost identical. I've got some suggestions. And that's all as a citizen any of us have is suggestions. But my reason for coming here tonight is to get the discussion and these projects off the dime they're sitting on. And that's to get people talking and understanding a way to get to what would be, I hope, a right direction and take the time needed to make a decision on that. First of all, I would like to ask you, the Roanoke County School Board, to designate one of the magisterial districts closest to wherever BCAT would go as that elected official's one of his schools. You need to have someone that every day is responsible. You have Northside, you have Cave Spring, you have Glenver, you have Hidden Valley. BCAT has no one that is singularly responsible. And we got to make that mistake, not make that mistake again, that we ever have a school out here that it's just got to, whoever at the moment wants to take and make something an issue for them. I would ask you to consider to appoint a committee of 2 members from the school board. And I'm going to say this, and this is no offense to you, Chairman Butzer, and it's no offense to Mr. Peters, but that committee would not be any administrative staff or the board chairmans. The board chairman should be neutral people when it comes down to the end to help sort it out. So I would ask you to appoint a committee of 2 members from the school board, and I'll be asking the Roanoke County Board of Supervisors to do the same thing, excluding their chairman. And I would ask y'all, 2 from the school board and 2 from the Roanoke County Board of Supervisors, to appoint 4 citizens from Roanoke County and encompass 4 elected officials, 4 citizens as a steering committee to go out and look. You don't have to pay somebody to do a study for something you already know. If there is properties out here that would be acceptable, y'all are going to know it. You don't need to pay somebody. Board of Supervisors don't need to pay anybody. And I think the citizens own this. The other thing that I believe that this committee ought to do is get out and hold public meetings to inform the citizens of Roanoke County what's going on, why a BCAT's needed. And, you know, BCAT, everybody understands the open classrooms at the 2 elementary schools and what they need to do and all. Many citizens I talk to don't understand what BCAT is or what it really does. And I wanted to come here tonight, and I hope I did not say anything that makes anybody believe that I wanted to insult anybody, because that's the least of what I wanted to do. But gentlemen, it's either you or the Board of Supervisors or y'all together have got to move it off the dime. And as I intend to challenge the Board of Supervisors to figure out and do something like this or consider it, I challenge y'all to do the same thing. And it's something that has to be done. And I will close my remarks by saying there are 3 types of people. There are people who make it happen, there's people who watch it happen, and there are people that wonder what happened. And I think y'all all here at this board and the Board of Supervisors are in the first class of those people that want to make it happen. But if you don't talk, you can't make it happen. And if you don't involve the citizens in something of this magnitude, it won't work and it won't fly. And I trust in your good judgment, and I trust you that you will do the right thing. I know you will. And Chairman Butzer, thank you for letting me go over 2 or 3 minutes, whatever it was. I appreciate that very much. I appreciate the attentiveness of attention of all you board members. I appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
Have a good night.
All right. Next item on the agenda is the consent agenda, and let me just kind of roll through the items. We're going to be approving some personnel changes, including a supplement, approval of school board meeting minutes from January 21st, February 11th, and 17th, appropriation request for increase in county transfer of $1,681,342, 2021 summer school schedules, and financial reports, all of which have been discussed in great detail during work sessions and other communications. So may I have a motion to approve the
So
consent?
moved.
Second.
All right. Madam Clerk, the roll.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, moving on to agenda item number 6, action items, 6.01, the 2021 VSBA Business Honor Roll. Mr. Chuck Leinberger. Good evening, Chuck.
Good evening. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, and Dr. McClung. Each year, the VSBA holds and conducts the Business Honor Roll. This is a recognition program whereby school systems can nominate up to 3 organizations or businesses that have been great partners over the year. Dr. Nicely and I previously spoke about this, and we came up with 3 that we would like to put before you. To place these businesses onto the VSBA Honor Roll, it is done in the form of a motion, which is on the screens here. I will not read the whole resolution, but we are very proud to place before you the United Way of the Roanoke Valley, the Boys and Girls Club of Roanoke, and the YMCA of Roanoke. As you members know, these 3 organizations were instrumental in helping us create the after-school supervision program from the beginning of the year that is still ongoing now to help many parents with after-school care during this pandemic. And so we felt like these 3 organizations were very deserving of this recognition. So at this time, staff recommends the approval of the attached resolution.
Okay. May I have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, make a motion to approve item 6.01.
All right. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right. Absolutely. Madam Clerk, the roll.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to agenda item number 7, information agenda, 7.01, Black History Month presentation, equity leadership, and planning team. Welcome.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. I'm here with some folks from our equity planning and leadership team to share a little bit of the great things that have gone on in Roanoke County this past month with Black History Month. And I'm going to turn it over initially to Lori Wimbush because they have done some spectacular things in our school.
Thank you, Dr. McClung and Chairman, members of the board. Thank you for having us tonight. One thing we've done at Hidden Valley High School, our History Club came up with a celebration of HBCUs and a Divine Nine, and it's a way to remember, celebrate, and educate. And we're going to show you a clip from WFXR that was done on our school.
Every year, Hidden Valley High School educator and sponsor of the History Club, Shelley Winterer, is responsible for coming up with ways to celebrate Black History Month. This year's project turned into something much bigger than anticipated. WFXR's Haley Henson tells us this year's effort focuses on historically Black colleges and universities.
And that's something about HBCUs. They care about you as a person. They prepare you to go out in society and face the challenges.
This video of Mayor Sherman Lee is one of many playing in the hallways of Hidden Valley High School for Black History Month. Shelley Winterer says the idea for the project came about with the recent election of Vice President Kamala Harris.
There's been so much talk about her educational background and the pride that she has from coming from an HBCU and being a part of the Divine Nine. I thought this could be a really cool opportunity to take that national conversation and bring it into our school and help our students learn more about what are these institutions.
A group effort, Winterer worked with Principal Lori Wimbush, colleague Kimberly Irvin, and others to connect with local members of the community who were a part of a historically Black college or university, or the Divine Nine, historically Black Greek letter organizations.
We put out a website called Flipgrid, where people could send in just little clips about what it meant to them to be a part of this.
Before we knew it, our Flipgrid account was just filling up with all of these great testimonials. And then it became something like, well, we have so many people, we can't cut any of these. They're all fantastic.
Now, students have access to nearly an hour of personal HBCU and Divine Nine experiences on various screens. Principal Lori Wimbush, a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha, says it has been inspiring.
Once we got those testimonials back, I mean, I was literally almost in tears when Miss Winter and Miss Irvin came to me with the final project.
But even more moving is educating youth on what started as the only option for Black Americans to what has become a choice of pride and a great option for pursuing higher education.
We're able to do all of these great things, and I get to learn more about them and what their passions were and what motivated them. And I just thought that was really great to be able to learn that.
It feels good to be educated on some of the stuff that I would have never even thought about had, Hidden Valley not have brought it up.
At Hidden Valley, they're bringing to light the opportunities beyond high school through education and community appreciation. Local in Roanoke, Haley Henson, WFXR News.
So that was just a quick illustration of the actual project. We also will share with you the link that is about a 55-minute video that was created by our students and our teachers. It has all the testimonials. Actually, so many people that I knew, other people knew, reached out to us, and it was just a great opportunity. So we've also shared the actual clip too, so we'll have that video for you too. So next, I want to be able to introduce Mr. Brian Hall and Ms. Haley Deed for Cave Springs Project.
Good evening, Chairman and Board. I would like to thank you guys for having us here tonight to recognize and celebrate Black History Month. At Cave Spring High School, we did several activities to celebrate Black History Month. Our journalism classes researched and announced daily facts on our morning announcements. In addition, our teachers encouraged our students to display works in the hallway and display cases to celebrate Black History Month. And what you're seeing displayed in the pictures is a door decorating contest in which our students and staff participated in, and the photos are from our winning Department of World Language.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and School Board. Yeah, so the result of this project really kind of far exceeded our expectations. We just really appreciated the hard work, collaboration between teacher and students, the creativity that went into this project, and we were really proud of our staff. We are very lucky to have the staff that we do at Cave Spring High School. And, it was just, we realized that Black History Month is, one time a year, and being on this equity committee has really brought to light it's important that throughout the year we acknowledge the importance of equity and social justice and those important values. So it's been a very refreshing experience for us.
We do appreciate the board's support, and I know we've spoken to you all before, and I've shared our pins that were developed by some of our students with you. The last part of our presentation is something called the Carver Project, and this is very near and dear to Dr. Nicely's heart as well. Although Carver right now is a Salem City school, it was originally in Roanoke County schools, and it was a segregated all-black school. And Ken actually has had the opportunity to talk to Wayne Harris, who's featured in this video, to talk about the successes of the students that attended Carver. And I think it's very important for us to see where we've been and how far we've come. This was completely segregated. Kids had to travel past other schools to get to school. And it's very enlightening, and I hope you enjoy a few minutes.
After decades of toiling in inadequate facilities with substandard learning materials, construction began on the Carver School for the area's African American children in 1939. Located on 6 acres of land at the corner of Water Street and the 4th Street truck route, the modern $135,000 facility would help put thousands of the region's black children on the highway to success. The dream of Salem-born educator Theron N. Williams became a reality when the doors of this 2-story consolidated school opened for students in grades 1st through 12th in September of 1940, 16 months after the groundbreaking. From that day until its closing in 1966, Carver was more than just a place of learning. Children were mentored, nurtured, disciplined, loved, and inspired from the moment they enrolled. The Carver School also served as the primary gathering place for those in the surrounding black neighborhoods, and through the years created extended families, lasting relationships, and an unbendable fiber that continues to run through the souls of every person who ever taught or learned there. This is the story of the Carver community.
Family. Family is the key word. Carver School, consolidated school, first to the 12th grade, represented the greatest family you could have outside of your own family. The first graders all looked up to the older kids, the kids that were seniors, and our greatest desire was to be like them.
We were a close-knit family there. We had so much encouragement from our parents first, well, from the Lord first, then from our parents and teachers in the community. It was just a thick community, so to speak, closely knit.
We cried together, we laughed together, we played together, and we got serious together. So those are just things that I'll never forget. And I am so grateful for the love and the education I received through my teachers at G.W. Carver.
Carver was family. Any event that went on at Carver drew people from all parts of Salem, Vinton, Hollins, and all the small communities in Roanoke County where black folks lived. I mean, in many ways, Carver-Salem was the glue that kept everything together.
It was just a closeness we had with all of our teachers. They were like our moms away from home. Our men teachers, what few we had, were like our dads away from home. And it was just a closeness there that I don't think any kids anywhere would ever experience that. I really don't.
The Carver family grew larger as the years passed, and additions were added to the school in 1957 and in 1962. At one point, the school had just under 500 students who were managed by one principal, one assistant principal, 24 teachers, 3 custodians, 1 secretary bookkeeper, and just 2 cafeteria workers. With a staff that size, foolishness of any type wasn't tolerated in the halls or the classrooms.
Today, as yesterday, if you don't have discipline, you aren't going to have any kind of program, whether it's English class, math class, science class, it doesn't make any difference. You have to have discipline if you're going to teach anything.
I tried to instill in them that they had potential, and I expected them to work up to it. And I also let it be known I was the only adult in the room until another one came in, and that I wasn't going to take any foolishness from anybody. And I'm so thankful that my 39 years I taught, I never had a child to be disrespectful and call me out of my name or offer to fight or anything. I tried to show them that I love them, and in return, they reciprocated.
You remember one of the things on television, when so-and-so speaks, everybody listens. And when these teachers spoke, every kid listened. And that's what made them good.
I also love the fact that I had the opportunity to go to GW Carver when I was in elementary school. And when you watch the video in its entirety, one of my teachers speaks in the video. So I love that they focused on relationships and high expectations. And, you know, we have the same focus today, except we're not segregated. So thank you to our equity team for being here and supporting us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Next item on the agenda, 7.02, an update on Roanoke County Public Schools expandable schedule review process. Dr. McClung?
Thank you. As you all know, the Roanoke County Public Schools expandable schedule plan for 2021 school year was approved by you all in July. And at that time, our goal was to maximize as much in-person student contact as we could have while maintaining the safety for our students and our staff in the midst of the COVID pandemic. So decisions were made about the opening of school and subsequent expansions based on a process of really looking at a lot of data points, recommendations from the Virginia Department of Education, the Virginia Department of Health, Centers for Disease Control, World Health Organization, and of course the Roanoke Allegheny Health Department. We also have been holding weekly and biweekly conference calls with the Virginia Department of Health as we've gone through this school year. So the data and recommendations are all processed through the lens of our local context and through the lived experience that we've had in Roanoke County schools as we've strived to make the best decisions for all. So one of the focus areas we've had is trying to be completely transparent with everyone through this. We've shared planning details. We have a COVID dashboard. We have tons of learning resources posted on our websites. We've had regular and consistent messaging from our superintendent, and now our school board meetings are even live streamed, which truly gives families and staff the opportunity to be here even though they're not physically present. So all of the messages that we've sent out to our families and our staff do focus on expanding as much as possible, of course, in the right time with the right supports and mitigation strategies in place. We've kept our promise by implementing carefully planned expansions throughout this school year at regular intervals. So as we all know, on Friday, February 5th, Governor Northam had made the announcement and issued a letter to our superintendents and school boards regarding in-person learning for the current school year. Certainly Roanoke County has been attending school all year, which has been a huge plus for our families and definitely for our students. But we have made sure that mitigation strategies are working, and we're very proud of the fact that we've been able to do that this year. So when the governor made his announcement, he really urged school divisions to take necessary steps moving toward more in-person learning opportunities and gave us a deadline of March 15th. So in accordance with the public health and safety guidance, beginning with our most vulnerable populations and younger students through grade 3, and then we've also made sure we focused on our students with disabilities and our English language learners. Roanoke County Schools, we've met and exceeded the expectations since August, and we've continued to try to maximize our in-person time. One of the things that we have started working on since the governor's announcement, Mr. Riley and Ms. Hogan have been working diligently with our principals to try to look through each individual building to see how we can explore expanded opportunities for the spring and also supplement with any optional summer programs that might be useful for select identified students. So on a positive note, our COVID metrics are definitely heading in the right direction. Our vaccination programs are finally expanding. The governor, our local boards, they've all affirmed that what we're doing is working. We've really had great success. And of course, the vaccination clinic that allowed all of our staff members to become fully vaccinated, should they choose to do so, has been extremely helpful. We definitely want to continue to thank our parents and families for standing in with the gap this year, for driving their kids to school, for making sure all the schoolwork's completed, and supporting our teachers. Our teachers and staff have done an exceptional job. So just in a nutshell, the 4 phases that we looked at, the first 9 weeks, we started with preschool through 2nd grade, attending school 5 days a week. And at that time, grades 3 through 12 started on the hybrid schedule, where they attended 2 days a week in person and had several days virtually with online instruction. For the second 9 weeks, our plan was to begin educating our 3rd graders as well, 5 days per week, and we were very successful with that. At that point, students in 4 through 12 continued on the hybrid program, but we were also lucky enough to be able to add a help day on Wednesdays for our middle and high school students who were struggling at that time, and we also were able to give them transportation to be able to attend an extra day should the need be there. So then the third 9 weeks hit, and all students in grades pre-K through 4 were 5 days a week. We had designated online teachers that I know Ms. Hogan and her staff have worked very hard to hire and train. We also made sure all of our at-risk populations were able to attend more days in person, and that included students with disabilities and English language learners and students who were failing certain classes or more than one class. When we did that the third 9 weeks, this provided us the opportunity to have approximately 1,300 more students attend more days. So now we're looking forward to the fourth 9-week period. As Mr. Riley and Ms. Hogan have been talking with principals, we've tried to make sure they're included on every step. I don't know if you all have anything you want to share, principals' perceptions of the possibility of expanding more the fourth 9 weeks.
I know that as I've spoken with the elementary principals that they're very excited about the opportunities that we're looking at for the fourth 9 weeks.
I'll echo that for the secondary folks. They're working hard to figure out, how we can accommodate more students moving forward.
So we've been working really hard to come up with a plan, and we're going to present the plan in its entirety March 2nd at the work session, and of course that will be televised so all staff can see that. But here are some key points that we're looking at. Roanoke County students have received more in-person instruction since August than most other school districts in our region and state. And at no point have we had to revert to all online instruction. Some schools have had to go back and forth due to COVID numbers. We have been very lucky not to have to do that. We've been able to consistently provide either daily in-person or a hybrid schedule to our students. We also have made sure that our in-person instruction is safe, and schools have been we've been providing as many mitigation strategies as possible in order to prevent the spread of COVID. So we've doubled in-person instruction to 4 days a week for nearly 300 fifth graders and nearly 1,000 secondary students for the third 9 weeks. We finally have data headed in the right direction, and we're all tickled pink about that because I think the sooner we can get through this pandemic, the better. And there's no doubt that the vaccinations are a true game changer for us. So I just wanted to alert you all that we are working diligently to try to come up with a solid plan to put as many mitigating strategies in place as possible while bringing back students as much as possible. So that will be presented fully on March 2nd. And if you all have any questions today, I'll be glad to try to answer those.
Just a couple.
Yes, sir.
I believe today is the first day where we've reported 0 exposures, 0 cases. Did you know that?
Yes, today.
That's amazing. I mean, think about that.
Yes.
In a school system this size, you talk about mitigation, yes, knock on wood, mitigation efforts and all the efforts that this school system has put in place, that I believe that's the first time that's happened, since we've started reporting these things. So that's great news. The other, do you have any idea what percentage of our teachers who wanted vaccinations have gotten either the first or second?
Dr. Seagal might have a ballpark range because we have been surveying our staff.
Yeah, ballpark's good enough. If you just
79% who wanted the first vaccine were able to get the first vaccine. I've got a more recent survey that I'm put
turning in Friday.
So
I can send you
79% received the first vaccine?
vaccine.
Okay, and
Yes.
you'll have, where do you think we are?
Second vaccine data's coming in today. Well, I've got it now, but I have to report it tomorrow. So I'll
Right.
have all the numbers together. So that will start showing our second dose vaccines. So that'll give us a much better number.
Good, good.
So
And,
I'll
and no
send that
issues with supply or anything like
Not
that?
at all.
Well, that's
No.
great.
And I also checked quickly today to see how many people were unable to get an appointment, and that was down to a handful, 10 people that could not get an appointment. So that's not a problem for us either.
Fantastic, thank you. Okay, the next item on the agenda is, normally it's a report by the superintendent. Do you have anything else you want to add? All right, moving on to 9, reports and inquiries of board members.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Received a number of calls and text messages last week asking why I wasn't in attendance at last Wednesday's emergency meeting. So I just wanted to take a few minutes to explain that and my thoughts on that. So notification of that meeting wasn't given out until 7:57 Tuesday evening via text message, and unfortunately I already had 3 work appointments scheduled for Wednesday morning that I wasn't able to change, but neither Mr. Greenway nor I were given or were consulted as to what time might fit our schedule. And Mr. Greenway quickly asked about an alternate time, but we were told that 11 a.m. was the only time Mr. Moretz was available, and therefore that's when the meeting was going to be. So it was obvious that some other board members were given the professional courtesy of finding an adequate time to meet, but Mr. Greenway and I were not. And I hope that wasn't Mr. Greenway and I probably had no inclination to change our votes from that previous meeting, but I'm hoping that wasn't an attempt to not hear from the opposing side. But the word of that meeting obviously spread pretty quickly, despite I didn't tell anybody, not even my wife knew that that emergency meeting had been called. Wednesday morning, I got a call from a citizen wanting to know if they could come speak at that meeting, and that was quickly denied. Again, I hope not an attempt to not hear from other people or may possibly a differing opinion, but the agenda item on there indicated that Dr. Stegall would present information to consider allowing athletic teams to play outside Roanoke County. But at the meeting, Dr. Stegall did not speak. No new information was presented, no attachments to the agenda. So, and I bring that up because in the motion that was made by Mr. Butzer, he indicated if we approved that that motion, it would reverse the decision to only allow play within the county. According to Robert's Rules of Orders, only a member of the prevailing side is allowed to make a motion to reconsider an item which had previously been voted on. And during the original vote, Mr. Butzer was not on the prevailing side of that 4-1 vote. Therefore, one could question whether or not the emergency meeting vote was legal, but semantics could also be used to say that it wasn't a reconsideration of the same vote, although Mr. Ray and Mr. Butzer did say that they were changing their vote in their comments at that meeting. So, and it also shoots some holes in the statement that citizens had the opportunity to speak on the same topic at the previous board meeting, which was why they weren't allowed to talk at the emergency meeting. So just hoping that we can have some transparency there. So I'll be the first to admit we've got much bigger things to worry about as a board than that decision that was made last week. First and foremost, figuring out how to get these kids back in school full time. But so, am I disappointed in the decision that was made last Wednesday? No, not really. Not nearly as disappointed as I am with the way that it was handled. But other than that, I'm excited for Tuesday's work session and to hear what we're planning on to get these kids back in school as quickly as possible, and just want to extend my heartfelt condolences to Dr. Nicely and his family on the passing of his father. Thank you.
Sure. So first of all, I hate that Lori and them left, but I just want to, thank all the hard work that the, equity leadership and planning team has done this year, and will continue to do. Right, this isn't something that we're going to stop. And we've certainly come a long way, but we have a long way to go. Right, I mean, I think a lot of it starts with education and empathy. Right? I mean, we are so divided as a country. I think we've really forgotten what the meaning of empathy means. People a lot of times confuse empathy with sympathy, and it's completely different. I mean, when we can picture ourselves walking a mile in someone else's shoes, I mean, that can, hopefully change the path forward. This is a great country, but we still have a long way to go. I mean, and that's, like I said, education, history. There seems to be a lot of push around the country to, for lack of a better term, whitewash history and focus on American exceptionalism, which is all great. But at some point, we've got to learn from our mistakes. Appreciate all you're doing. And that's all I've got. Thanks.
Ray? Just condolences to the Nicely family and the loss of Dr. Nicely's father. And our prayers and thoughts go out to him, and we certainly remember the family in your prayers. Thank you.
Thank you. I think the only thing that deserves mentioning from me is also my deepest condolences to Dr. Nicely and his family on the loss of his father, Mr. Ron Nicely, that happened this week. He and I had some conversations about how close we were, and he was, to his father as I was, and I remember those last days and hours with my dad, and it's something that'll take a long time to get over, and so may his memory be eternal. Thank you.